Hello all and welcome to the 5th episode of the Squirtle Squadcast. Once again, today is a very special episode in lieu of the Nintendo Direct news. I am Scott, otherwise known as XPL, and joined with me today is...
Hiya, I'm Nick, aka Majorasfan, other co-host.
Hi, I'm Marissa.
Hi, I'm Will.
Hi, I'm Jasem, by far.
I'm Zachgoose, and here with us today is our special guest.
Hi, I'm Cheese with 2 3s, also known as Cheese with 2 E's.
Whichever one you prefer. So, alrighty, as Scott mentioned, today's a really important episode because the Nintendo Direct happened last week while we were playing Hedge Wars. Not during. But anyway, huge big deal. A lot of new information and news that came out of that. First off, and I know most important to a lot of people because of how popular the series is, the Smash news. So we got information about Mewtwo's DLC release date and how you're going to get it for free if you did the registration of the 2 copies before. But we also got news about Lucas's releasing of the DLC foray. I know a lot of us here used to play Smash a lot, or still do, especially back in the Brawl days when Lucas was there. What is everyone's opinions on this with Lucas coming back and stuff?
Lucas! I love Mother 3, it's exciting.
Yeah, Mother 3 is
Will's
amazing.
probably more excited because he actually plays Lucas, but...
I'm excited. I really, although, a lot of my career, especially in Melee, I played Ness, and Ness is really good in Smash 4, but from what the trailer showed, it seems like Lucas has changed enough that he'll be tweaked a little bit, and he seems really fun. I love Lucas, so I'm thrilled, I guess.
That's good to hear, because yeah, I know one of the things I worried about with Lucas's DLC being announced is the custom moves that are already in the game. I know Ness has a lot of custom moves that are similar to what Lucas had. So I was wondering how they're going to deal with Lucas coming in. I know custom moves are definitely frowned upon competitively, so that wouldn't be an issue there. But I know like you can basically make Ness be very similar to Lucas if you wanted to. But obviously there are a lot of other differences with his main moves, his A moves and whatnot, and his smashes. So it's good to see him back, I think. And I think it makes the most sense to bring characters from older games back. So I think that's fair, personally.
Bring back Pichu.
The Pichu master.
But actually, I mained Pichu in Melee, and I'm not even joking.
If Pichu gets a DLC slot over like some other epic character, I'm gonna be so mad.
I'd be pretty salty, to be honest. I mean,
I throw a party.
I'd rather see old Solid Snake back, even though I didn't play him a lot. It'd be nice to see him back. But
It makes me wonder who's... Oh, that's probably going to be the next thing.
Yeah, speaking of which, who are you guys voting for?
yeah, the votes. Okay, so I'll be honest. I didn't vote for anyone because I felt really bad for Sakurai and his team. I really felt horrible
Nick just
for him.
opens tabs, submits 80 entries for Tosaka Rin.
I wish.
Why do you feel bad for them?
Because they're going to have to sort through, like, billions of suggestions, basically, and they're mostly going to be horrible. I saw a joke online that came in about a week afterwards, and it was one of my favorites. It was a fake subs, and it was Sakurai, and he said, "Alright, Sakurai here, we've decided to end the voting early, and we did expect this, but it was pretty disappointing." And they show a fake shot of like all the top ones, and like number 1 was Goku, and number 2 was Roy, and then all this stuff. And no, 2 was Ridley, 3 was Roy, and then he was like, "So instead, we've decided to just throw in like," and they said some joke character or something. So.
SpongeBob?
No, I don't remember what it was. I've completely forgotten. Oh well, but it was silly. So I don't know. I mean, I didn't really have any good enough ideas to submit, frankly. I mean, Ridley would be tough to implement, but it'd be neat if he was done in. Snake and a lot of the older characters I'd be fine with. I don't have any reasonable voices otherwise, though.
I mean, I voted for Isaac from Golden Sun. because I think there's a reasonable shot he could make it.
Yeah, that's
Is
not
he an
strange.
assist trophy still in this game?
I don't think so, but I
Because,
haven't.
like, I don't think they'd make someone like Ridley playable this time around, since he, like,
Is
has
a
a giant
stage.
version of
Since he's
himself
too
in a
big.
stage.
Yeah.
No, well, he's like basically a playable character in that one stage that features him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's true.
that was salt in the wound.
It's the same thing with people with Crom when they had the announcement trailer and
Oh,
they
yeah,
put
that
Crom
was
at the
pretty
end. I was like, nerds.
Did anybody else vote in the Smash ballot?
Is that why you keep asking who I'm gonna vote for?
There's a Smash ballot? No. I voted for Sceptile. I don't really like that Pokemon particularly, but I think it does have a good chance of getting in, and you know, they already have Greninja the water type and Charizard the fire type. I think it'd be good to have a fully evolved grass type. And
Yeah,
also,
and I guess Meganium
Omega
doesn't have a good
Ruby just
shot.
Came out. Yeah, probably not. Maybe.
I can only
No.
dream. But no, yeah, that's a reasonable guess. I saw your post on that earlier, and Sceptile has enough moves that I think he could do it from. But I mean, that works because I mean, of the Pokemon that are playable right now, none of them are my favorites from their respective generations. So that would be par for the course, I guess. I mean,
I don't know. I think we need to stay away from Pokemon because we have enough of them in Mario. I think I'd like to see them reach out to a couple more franchises that aren't in the game.
I
With this
agree.
DLC thing, like Golden Sun, for instance, or etc.
To be fair, yeah, Mewtwo is like the first DLC, so we're gonna have, how many Pokemon is that now? We have Charizard, Greninja, Lucario, Pikachu, Mewtwo will be in there, and Jigglypuff, that's 6, I believe that's
Okay,
playable.
but hear me out. Professor Layton just shows up.
That would be fantastic.
I'll solve these puzzles.
I
I don't know.
I mean, I'd play Professor Layton. I mentioned earlier, but one of my friends would like literally explode if they put Phoenix Wright in this game, even though Phoenix Wright was in
Yeah, he's
UMVC. So
That's what I was gonna. That's
yeah.
the only reason why.
Well,
I
he
didn't.
mains him in that game, even though he's so bad. He's stubborn about it, which I respect because I do that in my fighting games too. I play really bad characters because I like them. So, though.
Hey, Bowser's good now.
Yeah, that's been a trend too. It's like I play characters that are really bad, then those characters get buffed later. Same thing happened in Persona 4 Arena. I played one of the worst characters in the game, and in the newest patch that just came out in arcade, she's like really good now, like A tier. It's hilarious. I'm so happy. My luck.
I have a good one.
Mm.
I want to see Hector from Fire Emblem.
I mean, a man can dream.
Yeah.
I mean, to be truthful, Hector is like one of the most popular words in comparison to like Crom or Lyn even, but Lyn's already an assist trophy, and I don't know.
I just
So
wanna
is
see
Crom.
I just want to see a non-sword Fire Emblem character.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good characters.
Kind of.
Oh, have you guys heard about how companies have been opting their characters to be included in DLC?
What do you mean?
Like, I know Way Forward Technologies, they put like Twitter, they tweeted a bunch of statuses saying like, oh, you should vote Shantae for the new DLC.
Yeah, actually, I do know what
know-
you're talking about. I
Oh,
even
it's
saw
Shovel
the people
Knight.
who made Super Meat Boy said that even.
Yeah.
They're like, it's a
And
long
even-
shot, but if you want Super Meat Boy in, feel free to vote. And I was like, huh. Yeah, I think that's really neat that they're suggesting that. I wonder what that says about, like, if they've had any discussions with Nintendo, or maybe that means they have not, and they're hoping this will get them some attention. I wonder.
Yeah, it's all publicity kind of thing.
Yeah, but I mean, I agree with Will on that thing, and I like that that's a thing that's happening because I'd like more series to be represented. I mean, one of my favorite things about Smash is that you have all these different characters from different things that you can be, and that gives diversity in the playstyle. It also just reaches out to more people anyway. Like, I mean, it's not like the Pokemon Tekken game we were talking about before where it's just Pokemon fighting. This one, it's like, oh, we have Pokemon, but we have Mario and Zelda and all these super popular series, and that's been a big deal for a while. And Brawl, we started to see them branch out to third party, and here we are again with third party. So I think the more interesting that would be. I'd be totally on board for it. So.
Okay, but what if this is totally just not really that relevant, but what if, okay, so we have Toon Link, what if we had Tetra? That'd be awesome.
No.
Exciting.
That is my fault. I'm not saying I don't like Tetra. I'm also saying that, like...
Hey, it's better than the Duck Girl.
You mean, well, in Melee...
What? No, hey, okay, hold on a second. I liked her.
Oh my, you would.
Didn't they have, like, in one of the games, didn't Toon Zelda get cut from the roster?
Yeah, she was people were saying she was in the game data for Brawl.
Huh.
Yeah, it was, like, there were, like, 5 or 6 characters, like Mewtwo, Roy, Toon Zelda, Dixie Kong, and I think Plusle and Minun.
Alright. Real talk? I've never heard of like half of those that being in Brawl. That's amazing.
Why? Why would they do that?
What if they put it to
Okay, I just want to say this as a Raichu person. The fact that Pikachu, Pichu, and possibly Plusle and Minun considered of Raichu is incredibly insulting.
That's gotta suck.
Also, I think there's a rumor that this, like, these DLCs have been predicted, so the next one after Lucas will be Wolf.
Yeah, he should be
just heard
back.
that.
I agree with that. Like he was not a character I played, but I think he's important to be in the game.
I like Wolf. Actually.
Yeah, he was
Not the
neat.
Ice Climber's back.
Yeah. Why? That was like one of the most unique characters in the game, and they just took it out.
Yeah, Ice Climbers, my gosh, I know why. It's because the 3DS version was not able to support the way that they have the two characters following along. And, like, Rosalina and Luma was different. Yeah, that's why. And even though Rosalina and Luma does that, it's, like, different. And I think that's why they did stuff with Olimar, too, I think, maybe. I don't know. I think that's part of it. I know they balanced them just to balance them. But I also think it had to do with 3DS's technical limitations.
Well, there are lots of little things like that. Like, on the 3DS version, Pikachu's, like, Thunder Down B is just, like, really tiny, but it's still full screen on the Wii U version. They have lots of attacks like that.
Interesting.
But, I mean, it is impressive that the 3DS version can, like, do all that stuff without lagging, while you have, like, the Pokemon games are getting, like, frame drops when they only have 2 models on the screen.
Yeah, no, it's impressive what they've done. Who else did you mention were in the game data again? You said Toon Zelda, other than Roy and Mewtwo.
Toon Zelda, Dixie Kong.
Okay, real talk. If Dixie Kong was here instead of Diddy Kong, I would be a lot less biased against Diddy players. Because I played DK Country 3 a lot, and, like, Dixie was playable. That was the what?
That was the best one.
Yeah, I know.
Baby or whatever.
Yeah, the big toddler one, and then there's Dixie.
A, that's not the best one, and B, I've heard that the King K. Rool is actually really popular in the vote.
That'd be an interesting pick.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Huh.
So I don't know what.
Do they have the?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I don't know if who owns that character per se. I would assume Rare does, since they've never used King K. Rool in the new Donkey Kong games. But
that's true.
If it gets popular enough, maybe they could buy the lending rights. From Rare.
Well, one of the heads of the of Xbox actually said they would love to see Banjo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
People would literally explode.
I would explode. I would totally use Banjo. Oh my gosh. Guh, and all of that. It would be pretty great.
Yeah, it would be sick.
King K. Rool, you know, I've always liked him. I wouldn't want to play him, probably, but I would really like that, because I think he's a good villain.
Yeah, I think he'd be neat to be put in. And I don't know, like, I keep trying to branch out my characters, and then I keep not branching out my characters. Like, when I first got Smash, I was like, oh, well, I can play Bowser and Jigglypuff again. I think I really like Palutena, and then Palutena was bad, so I didn't play Palutena. So, yeah, I just don't know. But, anywho, so yeah, Smash News, all sorts of awesome stuff there. But that's not it with the Nintendo Direct, of course. We had a lot of other neat things. The Mario Kart 8 DLC was big stuff. What do you guys think about that? I know the 200cc is pretty neat because when I used to play it like hardcore when I was younger, I really liked the fact that 150cc was tough. In mirror mode, the CPUs were even harder, so I would always play mirror even though I didn't like mirroring the tracks just because I wanted to have the higher difficulty. So I think that's neat that they made a crushingly hard difficulty, or at least that's what it sounded like. I have not actually played 200cc, so I don't know. But what do you guys think about the DLC? Also, the characters and whatnot in the newer released one. So
I don't have much recent Mario Kart experience. The last one I played a lot was Double Dash, but I will say it makes me sad that even though I like Isabelle from New Leaf, I really wish it was like Villager and Tom Nook as racers.
I mean,
the Villager's playable.
Villager's playable, but Tom Nook, yeah, like Tom Nook's been the staple, but ever since New Leaf happened, Isabella's like become master.
Imagine Tom Nook as a racer in Mario Kart.
No, it'd be hilarious.
I will say that the course that they did for Animal Crossing looks amazing.
Yeah, it does. I agree with that.
Yeah, and I saw the trailer where they recorded the music, and apparently there's going to be 4 different versions of the song for each season, and I thought that was just really amazing.
Yeah, they have the actual stage is different for the seasons, the music is different, a lot of different stuff. I love the touches they put into that.
Oh yeah, that's such a it's such a simple thing, but I think it's also such a big thing. Like that's just so neat.
Yeah, it reminds me back of Smash, again, like when you were playing on Smashville, and like if you were there at Saturday at like 8 or 9 o'clock, then KK Slider's there and starting playing it. I'm loving it. So.
Did they make a Zelda stage for Link, or was it just Link?
There is a Zelda stage,
I think
sure.
there's a Zelda stage.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I didn't know.
Yeah, it's pretty solid, so. But, yeah, I know my friends have Wii U's, and they've got Mario Kart 8, and so they got the DLC. And I know that they have the Blue Falcon and whatnot as well, which is Captain Falcon's ship. I think that's pretty cool that you can ride in that. And now 200cc is going to fit for that, I guess. I know a lot of
Falcon
people
driving it?
No, sadly.
No.
Captain Falcon's not playable. Though you can get a hat for your Mii, and they can wear it, so you can make it look like Captain Falcon.
It's just not the same.
Exactly.
No, it's not.
It's not the same.
Oh, well. Captain Falcon needs some more love. There hasn't been an F-Zero game in a long time.
Okay, I could get on the Metroid F-Zero bandwagon all day. But I will say that it's really a good sign that even though Nintendo isn't as fast as other companies with technology, let's say, but it's good to see that their DLC, at least for the most part, is worth it on these games like Smash and Mario Kart.
Yeah. And I'm like, me being a fan of games like The Idolmaster, I know one or two things about overpriced DLC. So, yeah, it's really nice to see good pricing schemes as opposed to highway robbery. So,
Bandai Namco has
go
been-
watch Nick's Idolmaster Let's Play on the channel.
yeah, I have no DLC on that game either, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, not getting ripped off this time. Haha.
Oh,
And
gosh.
speaking of Idolmaster, the company behind it, Bandai Namco, they've been milking a lot of their games recently with DLC, and it's like they've fallen as low as, say, EA Games, I would say.
In which games are we talking about? That's not
Like,
Idolmaster.
Idolmaster is a really, I guess, go-to choice of to milk people for DLC and money.
Yeah, it
but,
is.
you know their Tales series, the newest one, Tales of Hysteria?
That's
There's
true.
been a lot of DLC announced for that too. And there was even like a side story for one of the characters that were kind of advertised as being a main character, but she's kind of a side character, and they put out DLC that focuses on her, and it's $15, I think.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me. I have a few friends that are into the Tales series, and yeah, like, one of them is kind of bad with money saving, whereas I am a cheapskate. So she's sitting here, and she pulls up the DLC page, and she's like, oh wow, butler costumes for this character, and I'm like, that's stupid. And then I watch as she
$3.
buys it, and I'm like, okay. And then like they even had Idolmaster costumes for the characters in game, but even I would not spend money on that because like you don't get to play as the characters; they just get in a costume. But yeah, so many costumes, so many DLC things, like all expensive. Idolmaster is a painful example because the DLC is so expensive, like $12 for a song and like $30 for one of the new DLC for the story. It was pretty bad. So yeah, painful.
In the Tales games, if you buy the Idolmaster costumes, the in-game battle music kind of switches over to.
It does. It becomes instrumental versions of whichever one you pick. Positive Go My Way, and there's another one, I think. But yeah, the same thing with some of the other ones. Like there's school costumes that do that. Thumbs down. I wouldn't do it. Would not buy.
I wouldn't call it going full EA though. I mean, that's a steep step to be going full EA games.
Yeah, it's a low blow for I think. But they're
you've got to take a franchise that is loved and respected from an outsourced company, PopCap Games, and ruin it in the ground with a sequel, Plants vs. Zombies 2.
That was what you were mad about?
I was pretty mad about that.
I mean, that's understandable.
Sin City, like I was like, I'm with you, and then.
Okay. There's being mad about something, but Sim City just makes me livid.
Yeah.
It could have been so much, but hey, City Skyline. And no, I was not paid by Paradox Games to say that. I wish.
Scott, you still have your Civ 5 tradition in queue?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I understand that. I don't know, just it goes back to what we were talking about on the last the podcast, because like paywalls and whatnot and paid DLC, and now Nintendo's hopping into that direction with its games. But we already had that discussion. It's different. We've already concluded it ain't so bad comparatively. Other than that, what else do you guys? Oh yeah, there's the big Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem crossover. I didn't expect that to be.
I have a lot to talk about that.
Well, then the floor is yours.
Like right now?
Yeah.
No, later.
No, later. Maybe in a few hours.
Just go for it.
Just do it.
But yeah, like after the trailer, actually, a few years ago when the teaser trailer came out, it showcased a bunch of stock images with the main characters of the SMT series, and it showed the Fire Emblem characters, and then kind of like there's a big X, and people kind of assumed that it would just be the characters coming together, like in Project Cross Zone. I don't know how many of you played that. It's pretty bad, but anyway. On April Fool's, the new trailer for the game came out, and let's just say that a lot of people were disappointed because it wasn't what they expected, I guess. Instead of like a crossover between characters, many people speculated that it was more of a crossover of mechanics and elements. And there's been a lot of butthurt on the internet. I've actually partaken in a lot of conversations and other discussions about the game. And I've even seen the IGN and the Game Explain analysis of it. And I like the theory of it. That this is Atlas we're talking about, so it's going to be a good game. But I like the theory about how it could be a deconstruction of the idol genre, because there's a big idol emphasis on the trailer.
Is that the case?
It was a really big theme.
Huh. Well, then I'm just gonna have to buy this now, I guess. No, but continue.
Yeah. Besides that, many people thought it was more like a lot of people have been calling it a weeaboo kind of thing. They called it a game for weebs. They even compared it to games like from this company called Compile Heart.
Yeah.
They even compared it to the Atelier series, and personally I can't find the similarities between all three of them, besides the anime style, but there's really nothing similar about them. And people, like, from the trailer alone, thought it was going to be a really cheery, like, childish almost kind of game. And in the song, the really J-pop sounding song, if you actually look at the lyrics, they've been translated by people online. It's actually very dark. Well, not too dark. It's more like melancholic kind of song.
Well, all joking aside, because I'm one of the people that likes to poke fun at myself for being interested in anime and whatnot, I do think there's a huge stigma about like games that come from Japan and don't look like super realistic. Like there are some series that are like set in like people respect certain series like Street Fighter and whatnot. That's going to be loved over here, even though whatnot. But then there are a lot of games that have a certain style or that might like just people, oh, it's from Japan, and so it automatically turns people off. Even though there are a lot of games from Japan that are made by the same people or very similar, like Smash, for instance, very much from Japan. And a lot of people don't even realize, like, Pikachu's voice is from her Japanese voice actors and everything. They don't change it in the US version. A lot of stuff like that. I just think there's a lot of stigma. It gets kind of annoying because people just discard some games without even trying them because it's anime style. I played Valkyria Chronicles myself recently, and it's a really solid game, but a lot of people just don't give it a shot, or they say, oh, it's not for me because, oh, it's anime style. Look at this cartoony depiction. Ha, forget that. But it's legit one of my more recent games that I've played that I've enjoyed. Great strategy game. I imagine this might be similar. Like a lot of people really like Fire Emblem, but a lot of people have not tried the Shin Megami Tensei series. Maybe at most they've played Persona, which is obviously a spin-off, offshoot of it. I personally haven't actually played any of the SMT games as much as I probably should have. I have not. I have played Persona, though. And I have played Fire Emblem. I guess in a crossover like this, it's inevitable that people are going to get pretty mad for different reasons. I mean, the same thing happened with Hyrule Warriors, right? Like, a lot of people got really mad that it was like Dynasty Warriors, but not as much as the fans of Dynasty Warriors wanted it to be. And then Zelda fans weren't happy because it wasn't as much Zelda. Obviously, a lot of people really liked it, but there are still people that will be mad about it on either side.
Yeah, and it's been thought of lately that this new game, which is called Illusory Revelations Sharp, as in the music symbol, F-E, like this could be a new kind of spin-off series, kind of like Devil Survivor or Persona. And personally, I think it could go a long way, kind of like the Kingdom Hearts series, how it's kind of like crossover, but not entirely. So like, maybe in the future they could do another series that they cross over with, say, Pokemon or Zelda even.
Yeah. That would be interesting. Well, to be honest, I don't know as much about this game as I really should. I didn't realize about the whole everything about it that you've mentioned. That was really educational for me. I'm going to have to look into it. Marissa laughs at my non-knowledge.
I don't think any of us know anything about this game except for cheese.
I'm sorry. Wow. I've been refreshing like threads all day, just looking, replying and stuff.
I think this is a first in the 6 years that I've known Nick that we've met someone who actually knows something about one of his interests more than Nick does.
I wouldn't. I mean,
Nick's to get his notes out.
No, I mean, I don't really consider this the same realm of my interest. Like I said, I've never played an SMT game, so... And
I've also memorized the whole entire song in the trailer.
That's intense.
This guy's ridiculous.
Would you like to sing
I've watched
that
over
for us?
120 times.
Well, I mean, I think that's cool. I want to look into it, actually, now. I'm more interested in the game, personally. But yeah, I don't feel... I mean, you guys can consider me beaten if you want. I don't. There's no win or lose here. But I don't know much about the SMT series. I mean, I'm historically, I've stayed out of the Persona discussions even because I don't like to pick fights because that's really deadly. I have my own opinions that people would crucify me over if I mention that, so I don't. So yeah, I know even less about SMT. So. I don't know. Now, if we wanted to have a discussion about, like, I don't know, Fate Stay Night, I win.
Well, we could. Okay, so there's Shin Megami Tensei X FE, but there also is the new Fire Emblem games that were discussed at Nintendo Direct, which I think a lot of us probably know. As much as I love listening to Cheese just tell me everything about this series,
I can.
I think a lot of us potentially know some or have opinions maybe about the Fire Emblem thing. Like, what do people feel about this whole dual sides thing and maybe 2 games, maybe DLC? It's kind of confusing.
I know just as much about that one as I do about the last one. So the floor is yours, Marissa.
Well, can somebody explain it a little bit better? 'Cause I'm still
okay.
confused.
Oh, I see how it is. You're trying to change the topic, and you know just as much as I do here. Okay. All right. In all seriousness, yeah, I actually, when I was watching the Nintendo Direct, all right, I'll I did not watch the Nintendo Direct. I was refreshing my Twitter feed on Nintendo's official profile to get all my information, and I went and looked up the things I was interested in later. So I was not aware that the Fire Emblem SMT thing was different from the Fire Emblem announcement at first. I thought they were the same, and then they just were spending a lot of time on it. I later realized it was different. So, as you may have noticed, I don't know much about yeah. But I know it's interesting, so...
information, I'm here.
Well, the floor is yours, question mark.
Well, I've already had my spotlight. Anybody else?
You are the guest, after all.
Oh, okay.
Sound like Zach also knew a fair amount if we want. I don't
The
know.
floor is yours, Zach. Anyone, please.
I'll do it. Alright, so, at least in Japanese, what they're doing with this Fire Emblem is they're splitting it into 2 different versions, like Pokemon. Like, they have, like, a black version and a white version. And from what we've gathered so far, they're going to have maybe the same characters, and it'll be in the same universe, but the stories will be completely different in each one. And in the white version, it's more of like a traditional Fire Emblem tale, and the black version, you actually play as like the evil, like militaristic organization, basically. And that version is also supposed to be more difficult or something.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
There's no world map in that version, apparently.
Ooh, interesting.
So it's kind of like the classic Fire Emblem games.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah, see, I'm a sucker for dark storylines and that sort of thing. So, yeah, this might really pull me in, because breaking the mold and doing something like this is exactly what I think is cool. So if they have to, do you know if they're going to have it? I think there's only one version that's going to be in the U.S. release. Is that right?
We don't know.
The thing is, it wasn't very clear, because in the U.S., in European countries, and in Japan, like, all 3 trailers were pretty much the same thing, except the last few seconds, where they split the screen in half, where it shows the 2 titles. In the American version, it was just Hoshido and Noir. In the EU version, it said, above Hoshido and Noir, it said Fire Emblem, kind of indicating that there were going to be 2 versions, but we're not really sure yet. And in Japan, they just outright said that there were going to be 2 versions. So it's really unsure how they're going to kind of bring that over to the West.
That's interesting. Well, if it is 2 versions over here, I'm going to buy the dark version, that's for sure, because that's right up my alley. I think that's pretty interesting.
See, the thing is, in Japan, if you buy the game, you can get the other game as DLC for half off, I think.
Oh, that's sweet.
And then later, they're going to come up with a 3rd kind of storyline for the same price as the discounted DLC.
That's neat. I like that.
Oh, go.
No, I just said I like that. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I had to mute a second, but one of the important things, if we haven't already discussed it, and stop me if we have, is that the for a lot of people that played Awakening, they'll remember the Avatar character.
Right.
Well, in this game, he's the Lord, like the main person, which has never happened before.
Like the equivalent of Crom, right?
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And what I gathered from the trailer is that the white version, like the Lord, belongs to that family, but for some reason he ended up growing up with the Dark family, and so it's like your main character is that Lord, and you can choose to go with your real family, which is the white side, or you can stay and try to fix the country you grew up in, which is the black one. So that's sort of like the main decision between the games, I guess, is how that works.
one thing I don't really like about this is all the emphasis they put on choice, and how those choices will decide whether or not you fight for Hoshido or you fight for Nor. But see, with the two versions thing, I think the biggest decision you make is which game you buy,
Yeah, that sounds like right.
and that's kind of stupid with the way it's been advertised.
I think I think I read in a special version you can get like a special version that has both like as
Yeah.
one game, and I think the
9,000
US is gonna get that version.
Which kind of makes sense considering we're getting the game in 2016.
Right.
Yeah, which is another thing, but I mean, I pretty much expected 2016 to
I
be
thought
honest.
it was gonna be winter,
You're
this
so
year.
hopeful, like.
but I mean, so far it looks like it's.
Well, there's
pretty-
so much text in those games. I mean, they take a long time to translate. It's not like Mario or whatever, where there's like 5 sentences in
Well,
the game.
I mean, I don't know. Let me make a mention real quick. I mean, Dual Destinies that was released last year got out, like, what, 2 months after its Japanese release? It was really fast. I think it
Oh,
released
that's
in Japan in
impressive.
June, July, and it released in the US by August, September. So I was amazed by that. And I don't know if they're going to be translating this new spin-off game, a Great Ace Attorney, or not. But it's theorized that if they do, it'll be out in the West before long. So
I hope so.
I hope so too, but you know how things are. I mean, if they're going to localize and fit
Yeah.
in the localized universe, that's going to be hilariously fun. Unless suddenly we're now in ancient Japanese village of San
No, I
Francisco.
think it's set in England though, so.
And part of it's set in Japan itself, so there are ways to deal with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. On one hand, I've always crusaded against silly localizations, but on the other hand, I really want to see what they do with this to make it fit in the localized universe. That would crank me
Wait,
up a lot.
okay, wait. Just going back, sorry, to Fire Emblem, are they... So Pokemon nowadays, although they translated into, like, English and other languages, it's a global release? Like, it's all released, like, within the same, like, 2-day period now? Is Fire Emblem not going to be like that? Or is it the same sort of thing? Like, do we know? I
It
don't
doesn't-
remember how Awakening was.
I don't believe it's the same sort of thing. I think it's just because Fire Emblem hasn't had the same following as the other kind of games. Though, of course, I am also the one that did not know that these two games were different. But it seems that, yeah, it's going to be released later. That's what they were saying about the 2016 release date. So,
So
shrugs.
it'll be released earlier in Japan.
Yeah, as is the
Okay.
past norm. That seems
Yeah,
to be
it's
the
gonna
case.
release. I think it's slated for third quarter
Oh, wow.
in Japan, and then we'll probably get it first quarter, probably late first quarter, 2016 would be my guess. The way it goes typically, but
That sounds reasonable, I think.
I
Because,
think
I mean,
it's fine. I was a little bit disappointed with 2016. I guess I was optimistic because the previous trailers looked like they were pretty far along. But if we get the game that has both routes included in the package, I'd be fine with that, really, because I don't want to buy 2 games.
Well, I think the reason they're doing it in 2016 is that they're waiting for the third path to be released before translating that and bundling into the Western releases, which I think is very generous.
that's
Well,
true.
hopefully.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess I wouldn't mind to wait for the DLC to come out, and then if I could get the 2 paths earlier, I think that would be what I want. But to get all at once, I can understand why they would do that. But, yeah.
I think it'll be the black and white in one game, and then we'll have to get the third route as DLC.
Yeah, I think that sounds reasonable. But oh well, sounds pretty neat to me. Yeah, it sounds something I'm interested in. So very different from the last one we were just talking about, though. This is much more traditional Fire Emblem, I suppose.
Can I make
but-
one final 3DS thing since we're here? It wasn't announced in the American one, but a couple days after the Direct, they announced Yokai Watch
Ooh, did they?
for 3DS, and finally in America. Which, if you don't know, is sort of like Japan's modern Pokemon series that sold like 1 billion copies over there.
Yeah.
That's like more with spirits, yokai, made by Level 5, which makes the Professor Layton games, and they're like super mega popular in Japan. So this will be the first time it's ever released in America.
Yeah.
And so,
Speaking of things that are super popular over there, I just remembered Toho is getting a release in the US as well, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I hope it. I know this is great, total greed, but I hope it's released on Steam.
No, I think that'd be sick. I think that would make sense if they did. I mean,
I mean, it's the biggest American PC distributor, so I
easily,
hope so.
yeah.
Where else could they do it though? I mean, is it retail game because nobody really buys retail
No,
PC
just on
games
their
anymore.
site, probably.
Released on like the EA brand.
Origin.
Toho made by
Yeah.
EA Sports.
If Toho is released in Origin, I think I would weep.
Is that the right thing to do with Toho to distribute it through mainstream markets?
Yeah, I mean,
Isn't
bullet
that-
hells are pretty popular.
Yeah, but isn't that kind of what comes into part of its flavor and its popularity?
That it being a Dojin game. Yeah, it is, but at the same time, I think everyone who's likes it for that what it is here in the US already knows about it, and everyone else just wouldn't really know as much maybe. But I think Steam has a lot of indie game sort of things on it too. So I don't think that's bad about it.
I guess so. I mean, if we had this discussion like 2 or 3 years ago, and I said, well, can I imagine people in Western Europe purchasing Toho through Steam, or like watching, or like scrolling some guy who has like Candy Crush, just sort of scrolling through some advertisements, like, oh, this bullet hell game called Toho with pretty little characters, and they'd be like, what?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to what I was saying before. There's a lot of discrimination against this sort of thing. People just aren't used to that. These weird Chinese cartoons taking over our American and European stuff. I mean, what's going on? So,
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think I would be a little bit weirded out by it, but now that visual novels are starting to catch fire on Steam now, which is really weird for me, don't get me wrong, it's weird to see visual novels being released on Steam.
hella
the
weird,
people-
but I'm okay with it.
I think with that, being kind of like, okay now, I mean, Toe, which is an actual game and not, a novel, I think it fit pretty well on Steam, and I think it'll do pretty well if they do go that route, but it is certainly an interesting thing to see that PC gaming's getting all these console games now and like Japanese things. I don't know, it's just really popular.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's one of those situations where it's like, if the people don't have access to something, and by giving them access you can make more money, it just, to me, seems like why not? Why, as a company, why not? Even if it's only hardcore fans that are going to buy this, you're still making money by releasing it to more people. And
Yeah.
so, why? I don't see any problem with it. Even if it wasn't exceptionally popular, now the people that want it have it, and they can pay money for it.
I mean, I guess the idea is, since it's so mega popular in Japan, would the market exist in the US, and under what conditions would you have to make it to exist in the US? And if you release it too early or in the wrong way, it just wouldn't work out. Kind of like Earthbound. Earthbound, the Mother series being huge in the Japan, but when they put Earthbound in the US, their marketing strategy was horrible, and so the game didn't sell. And so people just assumed the US hated the game, but that wasn't the case, and now we have a rabid fan base that really loves the Mother series and has wanted it on Virtual Console and everything else. But
Still waiting for
Mother 3, yeah. But, I mean, yeah, we've got all these things where just one thing could make a huge franchise just flop in the US. And a lot of things just aren't popular. Some of them are, it depends on their approach. Like I mentioned before, for some reason, Love Live School Idol Festival has 5 million, at least 1 million players on the US version. I think it's up to 10 million worldwide or something like that. It's pretty ridiculous for the numbers it is. And a lot of things that you wouldn't think would be popular in the US just because they're niche audiences have caught fire. So like you said with VNs, Steam is really starting to pick up with that. Clannad's going to be released through Steam. Grisaia is. I don't think Steins Gate is, but I know Higurashi is. The first chapter is going to be out by the summer with redone graphics and everything. And we have a lot of other VNs that aren't as good. that are out on Steam right now, and people are buying them, people are reading them, and people think they're pretty cool, and that's hitting the mainstream market. So, I mean, yeah, I think if the more things on Steam, why not? I'm up for that.
Aren't those all translated and released by Sekai Project? I think that was it.
Sekai Project is doing, I think, all of them. I think Manga Gamer worked with Higurashi, though. But Sekai Project is working through...
Not always good, though.
Yeah. Claynad is doing through Sekai Project for sure, because they got in contact with Key directly and all that stuff, so... Well, yeah, so... But it's about time, so we're going to say our goodbyes now, but we've had a great discussion. I hope you guys have found it interesting listening at home. The Nintendo Direct certainly caused a lot of new things to be about, and we covered a lot of different topics that weren't even there, but we bounced back around to the end. I think it was very interesting. Thanks, everyone, for joining me like always, and Cheese as well. Thanks for having in. So, yeah, in that case, we'll be signing off, so thanks, everyone, for listening. And have a good one. Oh, what?
Why did the poor man sell yeast?
I worry.
Why?
To raise some dough.
Oh.
No?
Future